spooky friends, and welcome to another episode of the Scarish Podcast.
Woo!
I hate you. I'm Robin Grace. This is Adam Diaz.
Hello.
And today we have a special guest.
Hooray!
Hey, it's me.
Who's me?
Bret.
Welcome, Bret. Thank you for coming on. We know you have some stories to tell us, so we're super excited. Also, I'd just like to point out, you're my hero right now because, I left the city, the night of Thursday, was flying. I think I've had, 10 hours sleep in the last, 4 days. So at some point, Robin was like, hey, I think I booked a special guest for Monday, so we don't have to do a bunch of research. I was like, holy shit, thank you, God. I was so excited.
Well, I remember we were talking about doing a show before, and we never had the chance because we've always been on so many different schedules. And I was just joking around. I'm like, oh, we didn't get to do a show. She's like, well, hey, there's this opportunity.
It's perfect, too. So I'm so happy to have you here. So we're very excited to hear what you have to give us. I asked Robin, too. I was like, what kind of stories is Bret going to give us tonight? So what kind of stories do you have?
See some interesting spooks from first ghost encounters. Not necessarily the scariest thing in the world, but I have had some also scary ones, and not sure, maybe possibly
true
demon
crime type thing.
Not that one. Although there is an interesting one from back in Hawaii I briefly told you about before, involving machetes.
All right.
Involving machete.
Involving
That's
machetes.
If this is an email, that's a good subject line. Subject line involving machetes.
All right, so let's see. The first time I ever encountered anything spiritual or out of the norm, I think I was about I had to be about 8 or so.
You were a youngling then.
Yeah.
Youngling.
Well,
were we friends yet?
We were. Yes. Oh my God. I'm leaving right now. Let me out. I'm done. No.
Shut it down.
So the layout of my dad's house, so we have a hallway that goes back to my rooms. My dad and I were so if you go down the hallway, our rooms are adjoined by a connecting door.
Okay.
And across the hallway adjacent is where my grandmother was. She passed away in 97.
Okay.
I was really close to her. I grew up with her. She was in the house all through my young childhood. And so, I don't know if you guys ever had that, where if you know someone well enough, you can tell that they're in the area, that they're near you, because you can feel their presence.
You can feel their radiation coming out.
It's not like the force or anything like that. It's not like I feel them. No.
But it's you just feel
they're
that
in me.
you don't have to know. Wow.
That's a different.
That's a little bit different for grandmas. But no, I totally understand what you're saying. You kind of know when someone's in the room with you, and you kind of know if it's the specific person. If you're in a house with certain people, someone can walk in and you know kind of who it is, not just based off of the energy you're reading, but body movements, footstep falls, stuff like that. Robin stomps around just a giant beast of a time.
They know when I'm at work, too, because they can hear my shoes.
That's so funny. So, yeah, I totally get what you're saying.
Clomp, no. So, she passed away, and like I said, she was there for me because my mom was going to school at the time when I was much younger. She was going to school to get her teaching degree. My dad was always working, so she was at home taking care of me. She was, at that point, a surrogate mother. So she passed away, and several years later, actually, I had to be about 10 years old, actually, correction a little bit still. And I remember kind of I had just gone to bed, I was still awake. I was 10 years old. You're a kid, you're antsy, you're jumpy.
You have all that energy that just evaporates in your 30s.
I'm not tired. What energy?
Right?
Oh
energy
my God,
comes.
We're 30. Stop.
Energy comes out of a cup of coffee.
You're nearly.
You're almost 30, Robin. We won't disclose your age on the podcast. I'm not editing that out.
So my dad was still in the living room because I could hear the TV, and he was watching late night programming. I think it was the news or something like that at that point. And I remember kind of just sitting up. I literally just laid down and pulled the covers up over me, had the fan on, and I just kind of had this weird sensation. I opened my eyes, leaned up, and it wasn't like how a lot of other people have the the waking dreams, or what is it when people get a lot of the alien ones that they feel when their body goes rigid, what do they call that,
sleep paralysis
sleep paralysis. So, yeah, so I mean, as I got older, I was able to kind of break a lot of that down in my head, and it wasn't any of the classic things that I've read about. What I saw was when I sat up in my bed, I saw a almost white glowing figure at the door, going across from my room to her room. And she just smiled and just kind of faded. And it was the trippiest thing ever, because at the time, I knew I was safe. I wasn't scared at all because I knew her face and I knew her presence. And I just remember seeing that so vividly still, even to this day, I'm getting chicken skin thinking about it. Seeing her face so vividly 15 feet, maybe 20 feet from me at most.
Right.
So, I mean, it was the first time I'd ever knowingly experienced anything out of the norm.
Yeah, that's incredible. And I will say this too for those of you who listen. Like, I've known Bret for I'd say like 8-9 years now since I met Robin.
Yeah, about there.
And like you're one of the most rational. I wouldn't say skeptical because you're very open minded.
8 or 9 years.
Yeah, but you're definitely one of the most rational people I know. So to hear you tell a story like that, like that's very impactful for me. You know what I mean? Because it's like you process things in a way most people don't. Where it's like, let's break this down piece by piece and analyze it. So the fact that you have this story where you're like, no, I straight up saw this. Like, that's...
I like to be very rational in a lot of things that are going on. Yes, I still have my religious beliefs, for one way or another. I still have my, outly worldviews like anyone does. But at the same time, I'm always open to discussion, thinking rationally about what's around you, what the world around you is. I like to go hiking. I like to explore. I used to love going to old haunted buildings and seeking around.
Didn't? I mean, well, Robin didn't, but the same here, man.
And, as kids especially, you try to go explore as much as possible. And the thing is, you try to rationalize, especially when you're younger. When you're scared, you're like, that was just a window. Oh, that was just the door creaking. Like it's the building. You try to figure out what it is because you're trying to stop yourself from being scared. But at the same time, you're also building that foundation for trying to be a rational-minded adult later in life.
Yeah, to like analyze situations, like what could this actually be? That's one of the scariest things as an adult too. When not just you have something happen to you, but you revisit things from your past. We're like, okay, with my grown ass man rational brain, that was a fucking demon. You still go back to things from your past. Where you're like, that was scary. Or in this case, where it's like
that fire popped up from the ground. It stabbed someone and went back underground.
I saw it happen.
I'm pretty sure that was unnatural.
But it's like when you have a beautiful story where you like. Someone has like left your life and you get to see them again and you know what you saw. It's a wonderful. It really is a wonderful memory.
And there can be many explanations within that self that could be something rational. But from what I know, from everything that I've studied myself personally, and I haven't found anything credible beyond something paranormal.
Right.
And that's just personal at that point.
Do you think coming from Hawaii has something to do with that? Because I know...
Well, it's something that actually a lot of people talk about in Hawaii. They always talk about how spiritual the land is there, and it has to do something with, either with the rocks or the foundation of what it is, and that it soaks up spiritual energy. It's almost like like for like gamers, it's almost like a mana sink or something like that, But I mean, a lot of people have talked about just, historically the night marchers. By the way, if anyone hasn't heard of that, go read up on them. One of the most terrifying things. You will never want to go hiking on a trail in Hawaii at night ever again.
We have given many a warning about what to do with night watchers. And as someone who's never been to Hawaii, because Robin won't take me there, what I know is if I hear drums, to get naked and lay down face down. So that's my plan. I don't know if it's 100% necessary, but it won't hurt.
That's usually the one that works. But normally, I think what's agreed upon is as long as you're whether you're genuflecting to them, you're getting on a knee, you're asking for pity. That's basically
right.
They're taking pity upon your soul.
It's like, I respect this is your place. Please don't kill me or
take me away. I screwed up. I'm here in your land.
Right.
Don't kill me. I'm terrified.
Pretty please. I'd also like to point out we've had 3 guests now on the show. 82 episodes, 3 guests. All of them
we have 3 guests?
3 guests. Mondo, Ralph, and now Bret. All of them at one point have lived in Hawaii.
Oh.
So there's a connection
that's the Hawaiian
there.
Connection.
There's a connection there because it's not like they all know each other. Mondo, Bret, and Ralph all don't know each other, and Hawaii is a fairly small place. But they've all experienced things, and a lot of them happen significantly in the Hawaiian Islands.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a very, like, I don't want to say magical place because I think of Disney when I hear that, but it's definitely like a very spiritual like center of a place.
I mean, so. Moving back to Hawaii, which is one of the reasons why I'm on here as well, right now.
It's gonna make me really sad.
Yeah,
don't make me cry.
I'll hug you. I'll take care of you later on.
Yeah.
Back behind the closed doors.
In the restrooms.
Shut up.
But no, like one thing I really want to do is actually I'd love to go and seek out some of the more historic sites, while still staying respectful, because you don't want to, with Hawaiian legend, of course, growing up there,
right?
It's all about respect.
Yeah.
You don't go trampsing on somebody's land. You figure out, okay, like, hey, where is it okay? Where is it not okay? What are the places where if I want to experience something, where do I go? Even in the daytime, it's really, really cool to kind of go and look for some of those.
I've come across cemeteries though and have freaked out and just ran the other way.
I think that's what young Adam didn't understand. Like, I was very curious about those things, and I not exactly wanted to have an experience, but I wanted to visit these places. And when you're young, like, you go and respect isn't in the forefront of your mind, but when I get there, I was cautious. And I think that cautious kind of kind of save my ass a little bit.
Yeah.
Because cautious like appears to be respectful in a lot of ways, but I go with people who are not cautious and not respectful. And like I told the story once before, but we went to a place called Moody Light. There's an episode called Moody Light. You can listen to it if you guys want to hear that really long story. But in the end, we left and we stumbled across a graveyard in the middle of nowhere, and we were walking around seeing how old the tombstones were. Some of them were older than the state of Indiana. And one of my friends was like, "You guys mind if I get high?" Like, he was my friend is basically Tally, so he starts smoking weed, and like he gets a little buzz going, and we're sitting there, and all of a sudden, like this is 100% true. Like fog just started rolling in across like the whole cemetery, like knee deep, like it was a fucking movie. Like someone kicked on like fog machines.
Was Snoop Dogg nearby?
Yeah, Ashton Kutcher was there too. I was like, "Am I being punked?" Like, oh my god, Ashton. We seriously, when it happened, we're like, we need to get the fuck out of here, like right now. And we blamed him. We're like, "You don't smoke weed on someone's grave. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you?" And it was super creepy, but it's just one of those things where when you're curious, and it, like I say this especially for our listeners who are younger, who want to go experience these things. I mean, we just went to Winchester Mystery House, you know? We took the tour, we walked around, we saw it, but we weren't like, let's sneak off and fuck with stuff, you know?
Yeah.
And I think when you're younger, you have that mindset in your head where it's like, I'll have an experience if I coax something out by taunting it, and there's just places where you do not do that shit.
I mean, like in our hometown of Lahaina, there's a church down there, Maria Lanakila Church in Lahaina. That's another one. A very old church. I mean, there's...
Catholic school.
Is it where you went to Catholic school?
Yeah. Sacred Heart School in Lahaina.
Besties.
That was before. That was even after we met. That was still way after.
Oh wow.
We've been friends for
since
like
second grade.
Yeah, we were little
so
babies.
It's like 96.
No.
92
years old.
She can't do math.
I'm a bad Asian.
Jesus.
92 was second grade for me. So for you, it would have been 96. Pretty sure.
About there. That's where I was.
Yeah.
95 was 95 was kindergarten. It would have been 97.
It's always weird when you have people that are on like the cusp, where it's like, I'm the oldest kid in the grade, or I'm the youngest kid in the grade. It throws everything off.
Yeah.
And anyway,
it doesn't help that my birthday's at like the end of the school year. But
maybe
anyway,
maybe it's full life.
Exactly. But anyway, so at that church at Maria Lanakila, there's some of the graves that date back to the early 1800s, and it's the same thing. It's, you know, it's just personally that respect. But, you know, like, I remember walking through there as a kid, like, late at night still. I mean, you can feel there's a presence there, definitely. I mean, it's also a great thing if you're ever in Lahaina, Hawaii, definitely check it out. The church is absolutely beautiful, but there's a lot of history in that graveyard.
Cool. Awesome. That's a good first story. We kind of went on a tangent there, but I'm okay with it. I'm totally okay with it. So you've known Robin since you guys were like 7 or 8. You guys have mentioned that before. And I know Robin hasn't really had very many paranormal experiences, if any. And Robin's mentioned to me before, too, like, she's never really known someone to pass away. So for a lot of us that have gone through it...
my best friend growing up, her dad, and that was the only thing.
Yeah, like, for a lot of us that have gone through that, I think, like, in Bret's case, you know, seeing your grandmother. We've had those stories before where it's like, just, no matter what your background is or your upbringing or your faith, like, when you lose someone like that and then you have this connection that comes back to you, like, you just you know, like, you just know. And it's like,
and it's something that's extra for the people that experience it. It's a extra bodily experience almost, that you can feel someone.
Yeah.
And it's I can't explain it at all. I've tried a million times.
I'm glad that we have the show, because I don't think that Robin would not believe me when I tell her the stuff that's happened to me, but it's nice for her to be exposed to all of this, because it's like, at some point, like, I'm not trying to like sound like,
don't put that
don't put that evil on me. But realistically, like, you're prepared.
You're
like,
gonna
you're
see
mentally,
a demon,
right?
No.
You're mentally prepared for like what the trauma might be, and then on top of that, like, one of these moments might present itself to you, because it's happened to like so many people, like basically everyone we know.
One of us.
Gobble gobble, gobble gobble.
Oh man. Well, maybe I'll take it off back. Keep it in Hawaii then for right now. So the machete story.
Yeah, we got to get to the machete story. I'm just too curious.
So this is not paranormal at all. This is just creepy Hawaii. This is the part of Hawaii that you're like, oh, that exists.
Does it involve
the scary part?
Does it involve Danny Trejo in it?
Oh my god, no!
Does it involve actually the machete?
I wish it would, because it would be so much more entertaining, and it wouldn't have been as terrifying. I think you remember, like, end of high school, I got into a group of people, like, everyone loved playing paintball because,
Yes.
like,
Because paintball's fucking sweet.
it is
I've
it is
never done
awesome.
it.
Well, the
I
thing is,
don't know.
and the great thing is about Hawaii is there's so many outdoor places to go, and they're not regulated fields. Everyone, I think normally it's like everyone.
You just go to where it's really wooded or really like
Yeah.
overgrown,
Woods balls.
and just go to like play airsoft or anything like that.
And so like we went with a whole bunch of people, and I used to go on a regular basis. There's an area up above Paia called Giggle Hill, gorgeous little hill you hike up to, and
It's not funny.
no, well,
Giggle Hill.
well, do you know why it's called Giggle Hill, right?
No.
You actually don't know why? Or, quick tangent. So, got its name, at least allegedly, this is the alleged story, from around the time of World War II. A lot of soldiers went up there, and you could hear giggling coming from the hill.
Get the fuck out of here.
They would run up there with the girls, so it was nicknamed Giggle Hill.
Oh, okay.
I thought you were gonna.
So they would run up there with, like, they would take girls up there, and you could hear, like, giggling and frolicking, and people would just go to do...
Giggle Hill is way better than Finger Bang Mountain.
Oh my god.
That makes sense.
Oh, man. Anyways, we were on our way up, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to take a shortcut. I had 3 people in the back and one of our other friends in the front seat, and she's passed out. I mean, it was early morning. We used to go like 7 o'clock in the morning, and because I was one of the few people that drove, and I had an SUV, people would hop in my truck. My truck would be the cool truck.
You're the de facto guy. You have to drive.
So I'd have the war wagon because we'd be blasting, like everything from Metallica to Garth Brooks at 7 a.m. So everyone's passed out. We drive from our side of the island to the other. And it's about an hour drive, so it's not too bad. But anyways, I'm like, all right, I think, and I'd only gone up there once before to where the shooting area was, and I ended up taking the wrong turn because I got turned around. I thought I went up and around, and when I went down to the right. With Hawaii, especially Maui, up until recently, we still had active sugarcane plantations going. So they had the fields everywhere. Now to accommodate this, they had large trucks that were baling trucks. They had like the wire frames on the side, and they're really, really heavy, but they need to move it fast to keep proficiency up, getting from the field to the refinery.
Right.
And so they built these gravel roads that were banked almost like a NASCAR track. So I mean, they had like a good about 10, 15 degree rake to them.
Oh, wow.
On these dirt roads, yes. I mean, they could haul.
So you see you see this road, and you're like, oh.
Well, we started going down, and we're just going that way. We ended up going to the back side of the old Maui High School, and it's way up in the sticks. There was a fire there years ago. I think there was some fatalities. I don't remember the exacts of it. So I mean, it's a creepy place already. Like a lot of people actually do go like ghost hunting there. It's a really cool like rundown area. I haven't been there in years. I actually haven't been there since the situation, and this is probably about 2008.
We're aging ourselves. Don't do it.
So I haven't been there for the better part of about over 10 years. We're coming down this road, and we can see the buildings, and I'm like, oh, I took the wrong turn. Everyone's waking up at this point because we start getting the gravel road, and they feel me sliding around. I'm like, I'm trying to speed up.
Right.
Getting a little bit loose. I'm having fun. I got, Avenged Sevenfold on the radio.
You have to do it at that point.
I got City of Evil blasting, man. I'm 18. I got City of Evil blasting through the radio. I got my friends in the truck, and we're going to go paintballing. Everyone's amped up at this point. Everyone's waking up. And so we pull up to Old Maui High School, and like I don't see any vehicles parked on there. I'm like, okay, well, just drive by and check it out, because actually, like I was thinking, like, man, that'd be pretty cool to actually like come out here, because like teenager, like that'd be cool to come out here and do paintball out here.
Right.
It's like stake it out real quickly. Let's check it out. Start pulling up. We're about 400 or 500 yards out, and I see this kind of figure move out, and it's daylight. I see this like tall figure move out. I'm like, oh, cool, someone's like hiking up here. Pull up maybe about 100 yards from the building. This big Micronesian, Hawaiian, something, Samoan, I don't know. This dude had to be about 7 feet tall.
No
my God.
way.
About 400 some odd pounds. I mean, the dude was big. And he just comes out with a machete in one hand and like a chicken's head in the other.
No way.
He's like,
And he
you guys hungry?
He has this ice cold like look across his face. Doesn't like no waving or anything like that, no smile, just like he just like staring there in the middle of the road with a chicken head and a machete in the middle of the sticks. All of us are just like,
Run.
what?
We need to leave. Get out of here.
Hail and well met, adventurer.
No.
I look behind me. There's no one on the dirt road behind me. See the dust settling. I turned the traction control off, put it in reverse. I turned the diff lock on. I slammed it backwards. Did a full like J turn, like like you see like the pictures of, like the presidential Secret Service doing. Threw it into gear. I was on that road that like sketchy. We were coming down at sketchy at 60 miles an hour. We probably did about 110 going out.
Oh my God.
Sideways. I put all my NASCAR driving, watching to talent.
That guy was just like, no one wants to be my friend.
No one loves Zoidberg.
There was
so
no cars.
funny.
There was no cars. There's no bikes. There's nothing. It's
He
just this.
probably just was squatting there, you know?
It likely is, but the thing is, it's not every day you pull up to an abandoned building and you see someone come at you with a machete and a chicken.
And someone that size.
Yeah.
It's like, and
Well,
interesting.
you don't see someone that size every day.
Yeah.
Period.
I've seen someone in the exact like size you're describing. He walked into a GameStop I was managing and went up to the cabinet that had like all the used electronics
And
in it.
we're tall guys.
Yeah, and like I'm 6'1", Brett's like 6'3".
Yeah.
And like this guy that came into my GameStop, super tall, super wide, and like you have the iPad display case where it's like got all the shit behind glass. And I saw him walk up to it. I looked away, and all of a sudden I heard the slat wall to my GameStop get ripped apart because he literally just grabbed it and ripped it off the fucking wall, the entire case, and ran out the door. And I was like, did that fucking behemoth just steal our iPads? Like, what the fuck? And I ran after him, and he threw it in the back of a truck, essentially destroying all the merchandise, jumped in the truck and drove away. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, why? And it's like, I have the license plate, I have the serial numbers of everything that was stolen. He was also Gigantor. We called the cops. We're like, can you find him? They're like, yeah, you're never seeing that shit again,
Was
bro.
he also green and carrying a MIRV launcher going back to the DC wasteland?
He might as well have been, for Christ's sake, but they just flat out told me, like, they got there 10 minutes later, the cops did, and they're like, yeah, we'll never find him. I'm like, I have given you so much information, like, how can you not find this guy that is obviously going to stick out like a sore thumb?
Yeah.
Now I know where his headquarters was, which I'm sure, like, at some point we'll find out that this high school that this guy was hiding in that you saw is probably like, I don't know, like a chicken factory now, and he's like super successful and he wears a giant monocle to match his face.
Cute.
Welcome to Gigantor's Chicken Factory.
Yeah, that's. I mean, it's weird places like that you come across every now and then with Hawaii. Just sometimes you get some of the nicest people. Like old grandma comes out, like you park somewhere, like, oh, you guys want some like like a pineapple or something like that, and you're like, oh yeah, sweet, thank you, thank you so much, And
Or
then
mangoes. Everyone's always like, you want some mangoes?
and then the opposite end of the spectrum, you get chicken head and a machete.
Right. It's a very wide spectrum of what you can experience in a place like Hawaii.
That's beyond a 180 difference. I don't even know what to classify that as.
Yeah, that's some bizarre shit for sure. Oh man, that would scare the shit out of me. Like I've been confronted like at gunpoint by people before for like trespassing. I told that story before where it's like we went searching for like a haunted house, and it turned out it was just a rumor. And like we were gonna jump onto this guy's property, and he had to deal with kids coming out to his property so much because he had a creepy barn.
Right.
That he saw us pull up, and when we were about to hop his fence, he came out there with a shotgun. And he was just like, get off my fucking property. And like something in me was like, but I really want to know. So I asked him, I was like, hey man, like I get it, we're not going to cross the fence, but tell me, like, is this place haunted? Because everyone in our high school says it's haunted. He was like, no man, like I live here. Leave me alone. He was so upset and like sad. And I could tell this was a normal thing. I'm like, I'm going to tell my friends this place is horseshit. And we got in the car and started driving away. And like as we were driving, my friends were like, that's so sad. I was like, what if that place is abandoned and the ghost we're looking for is a dude in blue jeans carrying a fucking shotgun?
And
they're like,
front door.
what the fuck?
Dun dun dun.
And then I talked to other people that went there, and they all got confronted by the same guy and told to fuck off. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure he's actually real. Like, I'm not gonna hop that thing and see if I get shot with like phantom buckshot. Like,
that'd be great though. Get confronted by just a pissed off ghost, just like, get off my porch, damn kids.
It would make sense. Ghosts are like, very protective of their territory. And like the story changes from every person you talk to about like what happens. Like if someone else like ran into this guy who wasn't like a rational person like you, by the time they told other people, it would have been this like huge fucking
Blown
story.
out,
yeah, how they saw this ghost and someone would have gone up there and probably got their head cut off. Like that poor chicken.
Well, my sister was asking, like, what are the odds that we walk past some type of spirit or ghost
And just assume they're a person.
just assume they're a person?
It's because Liz is all fucked up since we made her watch Haunting
Haunting
Hill
at
House.
Hill House, yeah.
How do you know that's not me right now?
Shut the front door.
How do we know Brett's not real? I'll tell you how. I'm touching him right now.
Oh, that's my nipple.
He's tangible.
All right.
Well, I can go from me being spooked out to us, me and a buddy freaking out at someone in Area 51.
Oh my god.
Yes.
Yeah, we got to
this is the comical one. So, as you both know, I do photography. I used to do a lot of aviation stuff. I'd go out near Area 51. If you go up the older highway on the east side of the box, which is the airspace around Area 51, you hit up to a small town called Rachel, where you can access the back gate. A lot of people go to eat there. That's where the Little Ailey Inn is.
Oh, that's
Actually,
a good name.
I will suggest.
That's cute.
I will suggest they actually have a fantastic breakfast, and their pies are amazing.
The
Why
Ailey
haven't we
Inn.
ever
The
been?
Little Ailey Inn.
That's so good.
So this is the first time I went up there, and I went up there with a buddy of mine. We were both photographers, and so we went out there for during a red flag. And red flag, for those of you that don't know, is when Nellis Air Force Base here in Vegas, they host a huge live action training for a whole bunch of squadrons, international and national here. So you get fighters from all around the world, and they do real dogfight engagements. They're going supersonic day and night. They start at 6 o'clock in the morning. They end at like 12 o'clock at night sometimes.
Wow.
All these squadrons are going up day in day out. It's like basically like an active war zone. So you're training as if you're constantly at war. So fighters are going out in the middle of the night. We went out there and we're bonfire. We're drinking vodka in the middle of the desert. It's summertime. We were drinking vodka from a plastic bottle.
What?
And yeah, it's a desert. It's gonna happen. So
It's like Robin's familiar with the fancy glass bottles. Like she doesn't understand like people like us who have acquired a taste for like the lesser known vodkas. Like I don't know. For me growing up, it was like Phillips or Fleischmann's.
What?
It's like they were just. It's like $7 for a half gallon. Yep,
it doesn't.
I'll take
It doesn't
that.
taste like anything good. It just tastes like rubbing alcohol, pretty much.
It straight up tastes like
Gross.
rubbing alcohol, but you mix it with enough orange juice or
You can't tell.
it just doesn't matter. You take some shots to start out.
Well,
you numb your tongue. And
exactly.
You're good to go.
You get a few drinks in, and you're like, I don't care anymore.
Yeah, it's like whatever.
So we're drinking out there, and meanwhile, above us, about 10,000 feet above us, they're going maybe even less than that. They're hitting the burners. We just see, these 50-foot arcs of flame coming out the back of like F-15s, F-22s, and they're shooting supersonic in the middle of the night. You can't see them. You just hear the boom. Yeah, it's just echoing through this canyon. There's no one out there. There's no one for miles. And Coyote Summit is in the middle of these two bowl valleys, where at the north side in the bowl valley you have Rachel. In the south side, it goes sloping down and back to the east towards Alamo. But at the bottom of that hill on the other side is where you also take the road to go towards the black mailbox for Groom Lake Road for A51, where everyone goes to the famous, the sign and the gate.
Right.
The famous one.
They let you take pictures of it?
Oh yeah. And
Yeah.
it says you don't take pictures, but they don't care. As long as you don't go past the line, they don't really give a shit.
All right.
It's like-
The camo dudes just watch from far going like, damn tourists.
It's like an unofficial tourist spot. Like I'm pretty sure you're not supposed to take pictures with whatever the people from the UK, like the Queen's Guard,
Yeah.
who aren't supposed to react. Like you're not supposed to take pictures with them, but they never react to enforce that. So it's like, yeah, it's
Every
a
now and
taboo.
then they'll throw someone like a little like loop like, haha, gotcha.
Yeah, it's like it's a taboo, but at the same time, people just fucking do it. And
Yeah.
everyone's like, whatever.
Yeah. So middle of this of Coyote Summit, you can see both sides of the valley perfectly clear. You can look down. You can see 10 miles one way. You can see about another 5 miles up to the north. So you can see cars that come in the middle of the night. Now my buddy, he used to build lasers. I don't know if he still does or anything like that. But he used to build like lasers as a hobbyist. He built like ones for like spotting, with ones you could see like 10 miles on a mountain. He could
Right.
send it out to like a large square pattern that that at that range you'd see the
No
plaster on the
way.
side.
That's
Oh, yeah.
really cool.
Yeah.
He would do designs like that on the beams themselves on the lenses that it used, so it actually refracted the light properly.
Isn't it supposed to be too that you have to use like green light when you're using a powerful laser because it shows up better, like at far distance? I remember because I used to go to Canada once a year, and we went up there, and one of the kids came up there, and I'd say kids, they were probably like 16 or 17, but he had like a star spotter laser, and we went up there and we were standing waiting for the Northern Lights to come out, and he started like pointing to star constellations, showing them to everyone, and it literally looks like the laser's pointing directly at the star because the visibility on it is so far. And he's like, oh yeah, dude, like I found out like if you use a green laser, like you can see it pick up more stuff in the spectrum as it goes on, so you can see it. And we're just like waving it over this lake for miles, and it looked like we were like, it basically felt like we were waving the biggest lightsaber ever. It was fucking incredible. So I can totally picture like this laser for like 5-6 miles going in the middle of the desert by Area 51.
And there was about a quarter moon out that night. So I mean, it had just enough light so you could just barely see the mountain ridges, but it was great. So you'd see like a little sheen coming off the highway as well, just a little taper of asphalt. You'd see that little blue sheen coming off of it. And this is to the east of Area 51. So to our west was Mount Baldy, which is where the station point is for like the observation for Area 51, that they can look over the entire ridge over there, the ridge range. And so this
Ridge
is about
range.
ridge
Just
range.
sounds good.
It sounds like such a
Sounded
good
good coming out of your mouth.
Ridge range, Ridge Racer. No. But it's we're about maybe 10-15 miles to the east of Area 51 where the highway and the hill are. So we're not that far. So a lot of people that are going in the middle of the night, they're going up there to drive the area. They're like, ooh, you know, it's spooky. Let's go check out the aliens and everything like that. Yeah.
I knew as soon as I heard that word come out of his mouth, I was like, she has to make her soundbite.
3 spoopy, 5 me. So we see his car coming up, and we're drunk at this point. We're like, let's go fuck with that car.
Oh, God.
No.
So we can see where the point that comes up from our right. So we're on the west side of the highway looking east. The highway runs from south to north. He's coming from the south, and we're like, we can put the laser right on the other side of the hill. So, like, looking at the other 5-mile stretch coming from the other side, we place it. There's no cars from the other way, so that's the only light source out there. And the thing is, it doesn't cast a beam because the air was perfectly clear. It rained a few days before, so it took all the dust out of the air. So there was, like, no refraction or reflection from any dirt particulates in the desert sky. It was just a nice, clear, bright green square in the middle of the desert on the highway east of Area 51.
This car is probably like, what?
What the fuck is anyone seeing this but me?
And we're high enough that we put the fire out at this point because we were just enjoying the night and we were just watching. And we're on the ridgeline, so you can't see the light unless you're looking directly at it. And the hill's like right here, so it's like right at our chin level. We're laying down and we're just like, shoot it over there, and we're just gonna race it up the hill with them.
Oh my God.
Cars coming up the hill and we're just like, ooh,
oh no,
moving it closer to them.
Oh my God.
And we get about 100 yards and we turn it off, and you just see them slam on the brakes. You just hear, we're just like, oh, pull back behind the hill in case they see us. We just see the brake lights come on. They just stop there for like a good 30 seconds, and he and I were just like, shit, we're in trouble.
Oh no.
And all of a sudden we just hear, they took off.
Really?
What's funny is we're probably going to get a story sent to us like, so I was driving right outside Area 51 and I saw this clearly tractor beam, perfect car size.
And before that, we were hitting like blue and purple laser beams in the sky as well, and we were hitting those in clouds, so we were reflecting them off the clouds because the planes had been done flying for about an hour because we were checking the scanner. We wanted to make sure before we screwed around. We're like, all right, we're in Area 51, we're in active airspace. We don't want to screw with anyone, so
right.
we want to play on the clouds. So we're like painting the clouds. We're painting my car. We're doing light painting with photography. I actually got some cool photos from that. I'll share with you guys later on. I got to find them.
Cool.
So rest of the night goes. We're like, nah, all right. Drink a little more, pass out, wake up, and it's just about 6 a.m. or so. It's a nice night. Got really nice and cool up there in the mountains. He brought out a hibachi he threw across the campfire, and he just made one of those frozen burritos he had in a cooler.
Nice.
I'm like, I'm just gonna wait till we go up to Rachel to eat. I want to get a full breakfast and everything like that. So he's like, all right, cool. He eats that. We head up into town, sitting down there with coffee and everything like that. And they're like, oh, where are you guys coming from? Oh, we were just camping up by a coyote last night. Okay, cool. Nice older lady. It's a family that runs the shop up there. She starts looking at the counter. She's cleaning the bar over there. She looks back up at us like, so I got a question for you guys. We're like, yeah, what's up? This time, we don't have anything clue. We're just we just came in for coffee and breakfast. So we didn't think anything of last night. We forgot about it completely at this point. And she's just like, well, you said you were camping up at Coyote Summit last night? Yeah. Why? What's you're not supposed to? She's like, no, it's fine. Did you guys see anything weird last night? We're like,
oh no.
We're like, we saw the F-15s doing maneuvers last night at about 11 o'clock, and then they turned home at about 11:30, and 12 o'clock there was nothing in the sky. She's like, okay. She was looking around for a minute. We're like, why? What's going on? And she's like, well, we got reports last night of someone came into the inn last night, and they reported aliens shooting each other with laser beams.
Oh
and,
no!
That's so funny.
And a tractor beam trying to pull our car up. My buddy and I, dead ass, we looked at each other, and we were just baffled for a split second, and then we both just started dying laughing because there was nothing else. It was just
aliens
no.
shooting lasers at each other.
There were literal Star Wars happening last night.
We were just dying, and so we told her. She starts dying too.
That's so funny.
Because they're used to people pulling pranks and stuff like that on people as well. There's people have been flying RC planes before drones got popular. They'd fly RC planes with a couple of lights on there and fly it above the highway and scare people because you can't hear them when they go by, so they creep people out. And so no, it was so comical actually that we screwed with someone that night. We actually made them think that they were about to get tractor beamed by an
That's
alien.
so funny.
Near Area 51. We probably cemented that person. They're probably going
Aliens.
Fucking real, man.
It's that the meme from Always Sunny in Philadelphia where he's just
pointing at the fucking murder board with the cigarette in his hand. That's so good.
And actually, that wasn't the other laugh that happened that day as well. So we finally get back up to the camping spot. We're hiking up to the top of Coyote Summit to go photograph the jets as they come into the valley over there. And like I said, it was my first time up there. in the mornings before the operation goes, because they're scrambling like 40 to 50 jets in the operation zone, they usually have one of the local fighters, the guys playing the aggressors, the bad guys, they go up and they play weather as well. So they go and check out visually what the cloud weather is, like if there's moisture in the area, all right, what's the visibility range, where is it safe to do low altitude, high altitude, where are our operation areas. So we hear them in the, when we got back up there, we heard the F-15. It's a very distinct sound. If you've ever heard an F-15 when it's not like landing or just taking off, when it's just kind of cruising, there's a certain reverberation, almost a hollow scream that it makes when it's turning away from you. And so, I'm like, okay.
I thought Robin just like opened her mouth. I thought she was going to do the sound.
No.
I got like really excited for a second.
No, I wish I could.
Yes, please, go on now.
No.
Oh, wow. It's so perfect.
Well, it takes me back.
It's like it's in the room with
I've got
me.
chicken skin.
It turns out that the engines on an F-15 are actually like a donkey dying.
So we hear the F-15 turning around, and we're like, okay, cool. We check the radio. Okay, he's just reporting, clear on East Box, Sector 8 or whatever, clouds at 30, so 30,000 feet.
Right.
They're like, all right, cool, whatever. We're getting ready. My buddy's like, I gotta really, hit the head at the bottom of the hill. He needs to take a shit.
I could not do that. Take
What?
a poop in the middle of nowhere.
He just leaned up against a tree.
Yeah.
I'm fairly certain I could take a shit anywhere. Like, I've taken a shit in my pants. I could take a shit anywhere. You know what I mean?
Well, anyway, so so he parks his car at the bottom of the hill. He's like, all right, I'll be a few minutes. I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna pull up to the top where the hike starts. I'm gonna start getting my gear on the car, get ready, pull out all of our lenses and everything like that. Fine. I get up to the top and I'm like, man, I had a lot of coffee. I gotta take a piss. Unzip, about to start going.
Oh god, no.
And about like a minute before I'd heard the F-15 again as he was turning away. But the thing is, I thought he turned. So I'm facing south towards my car is, and I hear the jet behind me, and I thought it was turning away into the northwest. The way the echo was carrying off, I think it was echoing against the mountain in the clouds. I'm like, all right, cool. Now, my car is bright white in the middle of this brown desert. It sticks out like a flag, going like, I'm here.
Right.
I'm literally about to start pissing. And I just see this gray nose about maybe 1,000 feet above me. And it gets about 2 football fields in front of me, and I still don't hear it.
Oh my god.
My brain was already like contemplating, like, wow, like it was like,
That's
wow,
really
cool.
close. What a
Oh,
pretty silver.
shit.
What a pretty silver bird that is.
Immediately after that,
You blew out your
boom!
ears, yeah.
My eardrums were ringing, like the sonic boom. Like, I'm sure I squeezed out more piss in a fraction of a second then.
Did you
than
end up
I
actually pooping?
Oh, no. I'll get to that in a second.
Oh my
He's like, and that was the best orgasm I ever had. I highly recommend it.
I just remember like dick in hand, just like, oh, just like, he was so fast. He was probably tracking about 1,000 knots or so, maybe about 800 knots. He was hauling.
That's just you're just making up numbers and words now for me.
We're just
That
like,
that holds no scale for me whatsoever.
A little
Yeah.
over 1,000 miles an hour, 1,800 miles an
Okay.
hour. Let's say that. And just by tracking speed and the distance and the altitude, that's why I want to guess is about that. He was so fast. I felt a little bit of breeze off of him after like a few minutes after he passed. I looked up. He was gone by the time I looked up, and I was still mid piss, and it was just like, where did he go? I heard it. Disappeared. He pulled vertical and went gone.
Wow.
And then he went and drew a dick in the sky somewhere. He was like, this is a good afternoon.
Shout out to the American aviators.
Oh my god.
So my buddy comes back. So he comes back up to the top of the trail area where I am, and I'm like, "Wow, did you see that?" He's like, "Yeah, man, that thing literally scared the shit out of me. I was leaning against the tree, and it just fired out like a rocket."
You can't help it at that point. Like if you're seriously not expecting it, like
No.
I've been to football games where they do flybys.
But he aimed at me at supersonic speeds. He aimed at me.
That's so fucking funny. It's
So-
like, they do that shit. They draw dicks in the sky all the time. If they're in the middle of like scouting and they don't see anything for miles and they see one car, they're
He's
like,
probably
oh
going to go
yeah,
for it,
yeah, I'm
yeah.
gonna mess with
He's
this
probably
dude.
looking down, going like,
Watch this.
This is gonna be good.
he has no fucking clue.
Right? That's so funny.
Oh man, no, it's a lot of fun out there though. There's a lot of it's like I've never experienced anything like I've gone to like the gates to Area 51. I've been to all like the cool things. I've seen the camo guys. I've watched them from afar. I've watched them pull someone over. It's nothing paranormal out there. It's just fighter jets.
That's a doggo.
Our dog is outside the door because fireworks just went off outside.
Oh.
She has just realized that the 4th of July is 3 days away, and she's like, no.
You want me to let her in?
Sure.
Come on. Yeah, I know a lot of people that have actually worked at Area 51 as engineers. So
Yeah,
Right.
it's just a whole bunch of scientists being nerdy and shit with cool airplanes and missiles. That's about it.
yeah,
Yeah, and I've covered Area 51 before, and I've gone over the story, and it's like a lot of the parts of the story are just like they've gone from fact to lore as it's been told over the years, and like, well, like your first story about like Area 51 though, it's like you say like someone was like, so we had reports of aliens fighting in the sky and a tractor beam. What's funny is that there was probably like alien maneuvers going on the same time where it's like, let's make sure the humans don't see us. And like when they retired, when the jets flew away, the aliens are like, all right, let's fuck around with these tractor beams, bruh. And because you guys were screwing around with the lasers somewhere else in the valley, when someone came in, they're like, aliens. Like they're like monitoring this from afar, and then you guys are like, oh, it was us. They're like, whew.
Cover
like,
story.
Thank
cool.
God. Like we didn't have to probe anyone. We didn't have to erase anyone's memories this time. They high five and freeze frame.
I wish they probed me. I felt so lonely that night.
I've made an entire buddy story in my brain about two aliens. They're just acting like dicks. And they're probably drawing like alien genitalia in the sky, but no one knows what it looks like. So everyone's like, that looks like a horse. And to them, they're like, we drew an alien dick.
I hear it's just the tips of their fingers.
What's that from?
Scary Movie.
The first one?
No,
Then I haven't seen
three.
it.
Number 3. Where they put the fingers in people's mouths. It's like, that's how we say hello. And then it's like, oh, yes.
We pee from our fingers.
That's disgusting. Yeah, I've not seen any scary movies but one.
I actually love that movie. I thought it was great. Stupid great.
Yeah.
That was the time that was around the time that Signs came out. So it was a parody of that. It was a major parody of that. But actually, like going back to like Disclosure of Area 51 on a more serious note slightly. About 4 or 5 years ago, I went to a lecture that they had over at the Nuclear History Museum down there on Flamingo.
Right on.
And it was actually sponsored by the CIA.
Sponsored by the Disinformation League.
Some Area 51 engineers that were retired, but their stuff was kind of unclassified classified. So it's like a lot of black marker on paper stuff.
Right.
But they had a CIA director there, and he was actually like they were doing a tell-all basically about the black program. So like the F-117, the SR-71, the U-2, a lot of those Cold War era aircraft.
Right.
And they're doing tell-all, and it's really cool actually learning the real history behind it without the guise of, oh, it's aliens. You know, it's actually like, you know, talking like to pilots that were there, to engineers. George Knapp of, I think it's the NBC channel out here. He was out there covering it. He was actually the host of the event. I mean, it was really cool, and just meeting all these actually talented human beings that worked at Area 51 back when they were just on the burgeoning edge of stealth and aviation sciences.
Yeah, that's where a lot of my skepticism comes from when you hear this story, because it's like you're literally in the middle of the Cold War. Like everything that's being developed covertly is so that no one else knows what you're doing, so that you can have as much surveillance of someone else as you can.
Not to mention during the
most cutting edge technology.
Not to mention during the 60s and 70s, a lot of people were using a lot of drugs back then. So
yeah.
You're out in the middle of the desert, you know, you're smoking that peyote. Holy shit, what the hell just passed us? A Mach 2.
That reminds me, I was at this bachelor party this past weekend, and of course that means we went to medieval times with 14 drunk dudes. And at some point, some guy came by, and everything he was selling, like swords, like all these like tiaras, all this other stuff, was like had a bunch of lights on it flashing. And so he just has a million things on him, and he walks up, and you can see him coming from a fucking mile away because it's a dark room. And he came up, and it's just a bunch of drunk dudes. And he walks up and was like, hey, would you guys like to buy anything? And I was looking at him so dead seriously, and he like caught my eyes. I'm just like staring at him, and I leaned over to the batch, and I'm like, man, I'm tripping so fucking hard. You see this guy too, right? And he just like looked at me, and he just walked away. And I was like, that felt good. For like disclosure's sake, I was not tripping. I was just drunk as fuck. I totally saw him. I knew he was real.
He seriously sent me a video of him.
It's a bad decision.
Yeah, where he took the skin from his chicken and put it on his face and played Cable Guy.
Oh, the lambs. Yeah, it's a quote from the movie The Cable Guy. If you haven't seen it, when Jim Carrey puts skin on his face. And I've gone to medieval times a lot and always contemplated it, but as a grown adult man, I was drunk enough where I made the conscious decision to make a terrible decision.
Right, you didn't have a parental figure with you going, don't do that.
He just texted me, he's like, it wasn't my final hour. Or my finest hour.
It could have been my final hour. Yeah. This was Robin's reaction to me when I sent her this video. She goes, you're disgusting. And I was like, oh, come on. And she's like, no. Like, she wanted to clarify. She's like, no, you disgust me. Like, it wasn't enough to call me disgusting. She wanted me to know even further that I disgust her in general.
Oh, come on. It's not that bad.
Oh, thank you.
We had the Hawaii Public School food lunch. That's
Which
disgusting.
is gross, but I didn't put it on my face.
Silence of the
Oh my
lambs.
god. Just shut
Hello,
up.
Clarice.
All right.
It's good to see you
So,
again.
let's get back to the spooky stuff.
So actually, I got one more good story for you. I got one more that's actually out from out here in Nevada. So tying it back, so we're making a big loop from it's interesting to Hawaii scary to us scaring it here to actually like legitimate like I don't know what the hell I saw. So pretext, I think this is a demon story.
Oh shit! Fuck yeah!
It was Machete.
So a friend of mine and I, we, another thing as a photographer, she wanted to go do photos, but also do like a beach day. So we went out towards Lake Mead, and we were just checking out all the different places.
You go to gorgeous locations to shoot, and then when you're done shooting, you're like, well, let's hang out because this place is awesome.
Because the thing is, it was the middle of the week, so there's not a lot of people out there. I mean, the only people that were out there were like a couple rangers, but like we only saw one the entire day, which was like at sundown.
He was a ghost.
So we're going to all these different places. I carry my pistol on me just in case. I carry a pistol and knife on me because I've encountered while hiking out there. I've encountered large coyotes. Like the juvenile ones are not too bad. Normally they're curious and they're just looking for food. They're like little puppies. They're just kind of like curious and they're really sweet. It's the mamas you want to worry about because they are the size of big German shepherds, if not bigger. Sometimes,
right?
I've seen them come up to
Really?
like waist height and higher.
Not to mention you've encountered, like I said, 7-foot tall dudes holding machetes when you're a young man. So as a grown ass man, like carrying a pistol totally makes sense.
So like I've encountered that, and I've seen tracks for mountain lion in the area. So I'm like, hey, I hike a lot on my own. I'm gonna carry something because God forbid, like unlike that guy I was in Colorado, it might not be a baby mountain lion that he encounters. It might be Big Mama. Fists and a foot are not going to take care of that. You have to go in there with a knife and a .45 caliber round.
Right.
So I carry that normally anyways. So we're like, oh, this looks really, really cool and interesting. There's this older hotel that had shut down, but like nothing was taped off, and it had been shut down for about 6-7 years at this point. We just walk in there, like the windows are smashed out and everything like that. And I'm still got my .45 on me because I'm like, you know what? It looks like where a squatter would be.
Right.
Just in case that, or also it's because it's cool enough and it's protected enough. There could be an animal in there, and if it feels that we're threatening it, especially in one of those rooms, it'll come out and attack us. Just like, all right, cool. Round in the chamber, safety off, back in the holster, clip it over. We go in. I got my camera across my chest. We're just checking it out first, make sure it's clear, and like, all right, let's look for a couple cool places to do some photos. Place is pretty genuinely like creepy. Like it's just got a weird vibe to it. It looks like a lot of people left in a hurry. Like the rooms are still furnished.
Wow.
No beddings over the top of it, but it still had beds. They still had TVs,
What?
cupboards. I mean, it was old like CRT TVs. Like a proper like TV,
Yeah.
like an older like 20 inch like. Just like
Call them the
room
fat
TV.
ass TVs because they're not flat screens.
Yeah, old school tube.
The fat bottom girls that make the rockin' world go round.
Well, they used to make the work go around with those CRTs.
They did. I played on 19-inch screen when I first played Halo.
Amen.
It's the greatest thing I'd ever done.
So we, we're walking around. We're like checking my camera, looking at the settings. I'm like, okay, cool. Do a couple test photos. I mean, it's got this cool, creepy vibe. But we could totally do a photo shoot. It'd be really cool. It'd be really trippy. And the light come in because all the windows are smashed open. It's all natural light entering from the doorways from each room into the hallways.
Right.
So it gives this really, really nice, cool, blue-hued, cross-color vibe. So it's really, really great contrast to like this background where it's like black color from the shadows. I looked down at my camera. I look up at my friend. She's gone. I'm like, where the hell did she go?
She was never there.
She's checking out rooms because she thought she heard someone and she just wandered off. I'm like, holy shit.
Oh no.
So I go check it out. I'm like, okay, cool. She's like, yeah, I don't know. I thought I saw something, but she came back this way. We pass looked like a utility room, completely blacked out because it had no windows. There's just hard walls in there, and it was near the edges of the first floor hall we were in. It's just a little two-story hotel. Similar to with what happened with my grandmother, you feel a presence and energy, but this one I didn't know. It was just kind of like I felt like someone was watching me. Honestly, it felt like being watched by. If you've ever gone to the zoo and seen the eyes of like a lion specifically, there's a certain power, that they always talk about. Like, especially like reading like things like the Tsavo lines. Have you guys ever read that much? Oh my God, you guys have read up on that one. There is a certain power that they command when you're looking in their eyes that it puts you into a trance almost because that they're more powerful than you. They can take you, and they're getting ready to. You are at their will. I'm looking at the darkness and I get that same feeling. I'm like, what the hell? It's like, but there's nothing there.
And you're just looking at a dark corner.
It's just black shadow. But like you could see like the wall outlines. You could see like the outlines of like just like crap on the ground, debris left over. The room got darker as I stared at it.
That's
No
so
way.
fucking creepy.
And I could see the wall on one side. I could see this, and then I just see this part of the wall kind of
No,
disappear.
no.
The shadow just kind of envelops the room, and I can feel it coming towards me. Cause I can feel cool air coming out of the room, and it's the middle of a summer day, by the way.
Again, why hauntings aren't that bad in Las Vegas, because they're at least free air conditioning, if anything.
Always a golden side.
Right. I'm a bright sider. That's me, people.
So I'm just kind of like lightly grab my knife. I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Like, it's like I don't even know what the hell's coming at me. Like,
right.
But I'm still thinking like it's an animal. So I'm just like, all right, prepare. Like I would, just still naturally going down to my hip. And then it just kind of like passed me. It's just kind of like walking to like one of the misters at like a hotel.
Right.
I had a weird sensation. I just like stood there. I was frozen for like a minute. I'm just like, I gotta go find my friend. I froze there. I'm just like looking around, like shake myself out of it. Hang on, wait. Okay, let go of the knife. Hey, where are you at? I hear her voice. I go looking for her again. She's like, hey, let's go upstairs. I'm like, all right, let's go upstairs. And so,
did you tell her what you saw?
No, because I didn't even know what I saw. At the time I was just kind of like, what the fuck?
Right. What just happened?
I didn't have time to process. I'm just kind of like, And so these hallways, they're misaligned so that their rooms that are closest to each other are aligned to each other, but they're misaligned so that way the stairwell that connects the two floors is within the building structure itself, so that it was not like sticking out like rotundous.
Okay. Right, gotcha.
And it's because it's interior, and it's got like a half level in there. So you walk up and it's got a half level and it turns back for a flight. So you can see the next floor and you get like up to that like the half level. And so it's the same layout upstairs, of course, and it's this kind of like this open galley in between the two hallways that are once again misaligned. We look down the right one; it's partially closed. I go open the door. Don't really see anything out of there because all the windows are open. So I mean, it's really, really bright on that side. And I hear her call out, "Hello," down the other side. And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm here." No. She's like, "Hello, I'm trying to call someone." I'm like, "Who?" She's like, "There's a guy over here."
No way. No
Fuck
way.
that.
Fuck
I just
that.
got cold chills.
No way.
I'm like, okay, well, wait for me. We'll go check it out together. So I turn away from the other hall. I want to go back and check out where she is. And I'm like, all right, cool. So I leave the hallways, and it's got, like I said, it's got these like doors that open up into like giant patio doors that you can close off the wing. It's probably like for like a bridal event or
right.
like if you want to rent out the entire wing, so you can close it off and make it a private wing.
Right, got you.
So I walk back to where she is, and I'd left both doors open completely wide towards the galley where it was facing. As I turn around, I just hear one of the doors, and there was no wind, by the way. I hear one of the doors just come slapping back hard.
No way.
And it hits. Like, it shuddered.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm just like, what the hell? Okay, fine. I got to get to her. What the hell's going on? I turn the corner for her hallway, and she's looking at me, like, and she's got, like, this, like, flushed white look. Like, she's got, like, this dead stare in her eyes, like, we need to go now. I'm like, what the hell is going on? What happened? Who'd you see? She's like, just go. So what I did is instinctually, because I've done a lot of firearms training and stuff like that. I've done some like some pistol combative courses. I pushed her behind me towards the stairs. I told her, grab on my belt, drag me that way. Pulled my pistol, crossed on my knife. I'm like, if there's someone there, if there's someone or an animal coming, I'm prepared.
Right.
I'm looking down the hallway, and I kind of hear this.
No way! No!
I hear this pitter patter of feet coming from down the hallway.
Oh gosh!
No, it's like an animal. Like, think of like a rabid animal.
Oh, okay. Oh.
Running on wooden floors, and it's getting louder and faster as it comes towards me. And I tell her, go. I just tell her, grab my belt and go. So I'm moving down the stairs. Click, 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 click. The sound's getting closer where the door is. The door is closest to where the stairwell is. I hear the sound round where the corner is. So I draw up. Safety's off. Round in the chamber. I draw up to the top of the stairs. And there's nothing there, and it stops right at the top of the stairs. The sound stops.
Oh my
God.
F.
And it's just empty. It's just empty wood floor. We back out of there, and there's all smashed glass in the lobby where we had come from. So we booked it out of there. We both tucked and rolled through the front door, and we got the hell out of there.
Yeah,
That's
I would
super
too. That is
fucking
so
creepy.
scary.
What she had seen, she told me later on, she said she saw what looked like a man in a boiler suit walking around in the top
Shut
floor.
up! I have chills. Shut up.
What's a boiler suit?
Isn't it like a big... I'm imagining like what you would wear, like welders would wear.
Yeah, like basically a jumpsuit.
Jumpsuit.
Yeah.
No way.
So,
Something that does not belong
but
there.
apparently he had like the most like nondescript face. Like, it was almost alien, almost human. She wasn't sure though. And it's just then hearing the sounds of whatever was coming towards me, I'm not sure what the hell it was. Like I said, it could have been a demon, it could have been a spirit, I'm not sure, but we could feel it watching us from the building. Like that same spirit or the same energy that I felt coming from that room that I'd first encountered.
Right.
I had that same feeling of it still watching me from inside, but it didn't chase us back outside.
That's so
I'm going
creepy.
with invisible alien dog.
Invisible alien dog.
I'm gonna say ghosts.
Like Hellhound. Like I legitimately thought Hellhound like from Supernatural, where it's like invisible and huge and like apex predator style, and like you're just fucked. Like if it's coming after you, like there's nothing you can do. It's just it's up to it. Like that's so creepy.
The thing is, there's certain tangible things that are terrifying. Like I said, I've been hiking out there and I've seen mountain lion prints, paw prints that are fresh.
Right.
I've had large coyote mothers come near me where I'm like, oh shit, I gotta go.
Right. This is bad for me.
Yeah, I could die. They don't stack up to the it wasn't even necessarily fear. It was not knowing what to think and how to comprehend what I was experiencing or looking for. And my mind was going a million miles an hour just trying to comprehend everything and recording everything mentally. And still, even to this day, I don't know what the hell it was.
The idea of something like not just like ferocious that you're feeling is like stalking you, but hearing something like coming after you and it's stopping in a point of like in your field of vision.
Well, it's
just not there.
And it's a very tangible sound.
Yeah.
Hearing the sound of feet running on.
Yeah.
It sounded like how like a wolf would. I honestly thought it was like a wolf or coyote running down the hallway at us because the cadence of the pitter patter on the floor.
Right.
And like I said, it's tangible. When you can hear it coming towards you, you can gauge distance. Okay, it's 50 feet, 40 feet, 30 feet. It's there in front of me. If you close your eyes, you could hear it.
Right.
And the thing was, when it stopped, there was nothing in front of me.
So I'm going to go ahead and bright side this so that all of our listeners aren't going to have fucking nightmares about demons chasing them that they can't see. And I'm going to say that as you were backing down because of your angle on the stairs, what it really was like a little cute chihuahua that just had really heavy footfalls. And it got to the door and like sat down and was looking down to look for you. But like the angle made it so you couldn't see it. So you're like, demon. And it was just like, I'm so lonely in this building.
Well, see,
now
you make me sad thinking that I left a chihuahua
I
there.
know.
And then leaving lonely tall machete guy.
Right? No, realistically, like that tall machete guy would have killed you, and that was a fucking demon.
So what you're telling me is, in actuality, I'm an asshole, and I'm leaving these poor defenseless things there.
You're the bad guy, and the story that they're telling on a different podcast right now. Tall guys and chihuahuas, and how everyone abandons us.
Someone doing a different episode is like, there was this guy and this girl, and they came to this place.
He pulled a gun on me. I just wanted to make friends.
Oh man. Oh.
That's really fucking good.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing your stories with
us. That one's one of my favorite ones to tell because like I said, I still don't know what to think about it. I'm like, I don't know. How do you comprehend that? What do you tell someone? It's like, yeah, there was a demon dog chasing me.
And like the feeling of something watching you and like that, it's just palpable,
Yeah.
Like you just feel it in your body. So you know when you feel like something's watching you and it's so goddamn creepy.
Well, and
when it's accompanied by something like that, like holy shit.
And going back to the reference that I made, so you haven't heard the Sava lions?
No.
So in Africa, real quickly, have you seen the movie The Ghost in the Darkness?
I have seen it when I was really young though.
So, but you haven't heard of this. Okay, so some of your listeners might know as well. There's basically this group of three maneless male lions.
Maneless.
So they have no mane.
And they were brothers. There was three
means.
brothers. They know that because they all shared the same genetic makeup for that. And this was in the early 1800s or something like that, I think. So they're building a railroad in the Savo area of Africa, and I think this is near Mombasa.
I hear they bless the rains down there.
I hate
Jesus
you so
Christ.
much.
But they had this case of like all these workers were going missing. They'd be taken by lions in the night.
Wow.
And it was this. They finally figured out where they were going. They killed the three lions. Actually, I think they're on display in the Natural Museum of History in Chicago.
Right on.
Oh my goodness.
I think they're stuffed and preserved there. I think all three of them are, and it's apparently still terrifying to look at them because there's a certain like just about their story now. It's really really creepy. But when they got to the den where the lions were pulling these workers and they were killing them, they were piling the bones in corners almost like a shrine. They were hunting for game. They weren't eating them. They're hunting for game.
Wow.
That's scary.
So their aggression's like it's that same thing as where they know that they're more powerful. They were smart. They were out thinking. They had to bring in these former military guys, hunters. It's a
And
really
that's who
great
Val
film.
Kilmer plays, right?
Val Kilmer. Well, he plays a military guy that
Batman?
oversees the situation, and then Michael Douglas actually comes in as the older wise hunter in the story in the movie version, and he helps them to set traps and eradicate the lion
that is
threat.
crazy.
But the real story is quite terrifying as well. So
Should probably look that up.
Yeah,
That sounds like
that's
that's a straight up topic.
the movie's
Yeah.
fantastic. I think it came out like 92.
I was really little when it
Were we
came out.
three?
I remember my parents watching it, and like my parents let me watch whatever they watch, but I just remember falling asleep because I was just like laying on the couch being super tired.
You can be like, oh, big kitty, like one day at the zoo, and you can watch that movie. You're like, never again.
No.
What's really funny about the big kitty thing too is like we went to the museum in New York with our niece Ryan, and when we were walking around, like there was a display, and like they put up displays of like animals from
Yeah.
all over the world,
There was
and
a
there's a display of
with
just
wolves.
yeah, and
Yeah.
they staged them so it looks like they're in the wilderness. And weren't you with her when she saw it?
Yeah, she was like, I'm not going. I don't want to walk past it. She was
so scared. Yeah.
And she was only 4, right? She was 4.
So they
or
were
5.
literally taller than her.
Yeah.
You know, and you see like for her forever, that's going to be the look of a wolf is
Yeah.
like something taller than me that looks terrifying
Yeah.
with like blood dripping down its chin. So when you think of like, oh, big kitty, then you see it in real life and it's like, oh, that thing wants to kill me.
Well,
Yeah.
It's just a different feeling
On
entirely.
the part of wolves, I one of the things I actually really want to do as a photographer, and just also as someone that loves adventure and experiences, I want to go to Norway. Have you heard of
Norway.
the Arctic? I think it's
They
the
just keep getting worse and worse, man.
the Arctic Circle Animal Park up there. So they have like elk and other like they have reindeer and stuff up there, and they're all in a preserve. They actually have like a large wild preserve there for their the Norwegian wolves you can go pet and play with actually, and apparently they're really receptive to
Wow.
humans actually, and like they will cuddle with you. And I'm like, I want to go do photos of them so
Right?
badly.
Selfies with cuddle wolves. That sounds like something that's made up, but
And
I
then all of a
totally want to do it. Right.
It was worth it for the gram.
Episode 100 is scary, so R.I.P. Bret. He lived out his dream of cuddling with wolves, and then it immediately ended poorly.
It's just like I did it for the gram. Cut.
Stunting for social media at its
Exactly.
finest.
That's how it would. You know what? If that's how it goes, that's how it goes. If I'm cuddling with the wolf when I die, I'm fine with that.
I used to say in high school, like, I want to box a kangaroo before I die. And I
Box
said,
a kangaroo.
I've watched
they-
videos of that. No.
yeah, because they box, and then like that guy punching that kangaroo in the face to save his dog. That's like what in my mind I picture would happen. But like when I was younger, I finally went to a zoo and saw the size of a kangaroo and how big they are. I was like, oh yeah, fuck that shit. Like I will not be
Well-
fighting a kangaroo anytime in my life.
That video of him punching that kangaroo,
That kangaroo's like,
it didn't even move.
It's like I'm gonna fuck you
Yeah,
up now, man.
It was,
I
it's
love how like, the first looks at him like, wait, did you really just?
Yeah.
What?
Did you
just
just
punch
hit
me?
And he like flexes his pecs. I'm pretty sure he
Yeah.
makes them bounce in the video too. Like, duh, 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 duh. And the guy just gets away with his dog.
But that punch didn't even affect the kangaroo whatsoever. It was more just startled, like, really?
He was like, "How dare you?" But yeah,
His
no,
power level.
I totally get what you're saying. Like
It's over 9,000.
you have goals in life, and you're like, "This might end my life, but I still really
Well,
want
actually,
to do it."
that reminded me real quickly talking about like just weird viral videos. Though I was mentioning it earlier, the tiger video.
Right.
How I felt going down the stairwell, running away from whatever the heck that demon dog, whatever the hell chasing me thing. So if anyone's seen on social media lately, there's been a video of these two guys riding a motorcycle. I believe it's in India, and a Bengal tiger comes running out
Whoa.
full sprint. I'll show you after we're done.
Okay.
Full sprint out of the jungle, misses the back of these guys on a motorcycle that are speeding away by about maybe 6 feet or so, and it just sprints back off into the jungle. And you look at it and it tries to strike at full sprint too. It's just like, yep, same feeling, same energy.
Here's the thing about that video. I haven't seen it yet. I've had it described to me multiple times, but as someone who records a podcast in the corner room of a house and has motorcycles go by between 8:30 and 12 p.m. at night, or 12 a.m. I should say, midnight, the noon of the night as I like to call it, just full throttle like "Dah!" If I was a Bengal tiger and I heard it coming, I'd be like, you know what? This ends today, motherfucker. So I kind of understand their mindset.
The line is drawn here.
Right? I'm so angry. So yeah, totally get that mindset from that Bengal tiger.
Yeah,
But
I feel you, bro. I feel you.
right on.
Awesome. This
So-
has been a really fun episode. I know it's not, like, super spooky, but it was really
That
fun.
last story is super fucking spooky.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun stories. A lot of cool little educational tidbits, I think. And it's just, nice to have you here.
Yeah, thank you for coming.
Well,
Bret.
thank you for having me on. It's so nice to actually share some of these stories with you guys. And we've, like I said, we've been trying to do this for a while, and the schedule's never worked out. I mean, everyone's lives are so busy. So, at least I finally get a chance to do this before I move back. I'll be back though sometime.
Yeah, and even when you're, still in Hawaii, if you think of some stuff, you're like, I need to come on for a second spot. Like, there's Skype. We record our entire first podcast with Skype, so it's just something we can totally arrange. But thank you, man. We appreciate you coming on.
I'll type it up in a nice text format so you can read it.
That works.
I'll put it like a script.
We get a lot of scripts. We script our stuff. We kind of stick to them just to make sure our facts are correct. But yeah, that sounds good.
I'll make sure to throw some dad jokes in there, some stuff that she can feed off.
She'll
of.
be absolutely thrilled if she gets some dad jokes.
I'll give some nice lead-ins so you can just feed off of them.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, this has been our special guest episode with Bret Omura of Omura Media. So if you guys want to check out his Instagram, what's all your social media things?
If you just go on Instagram, it's Omura. I think it's Omura_media. Facebook, I'm under Omura Media. Twitter, same thing.
Yep. So OMURA.
And then if you guys want to check out YouTube as well, I'm gonna start doing videos on there as well again. And now it's under SR71.
Nice.
Cool.
Sweet.
Awesome.
So.
And you can always check us out on social media. If you go to scaryish.com, we have all our social media on there. We have Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all those other things that kids are doing these days. And
most importantly, if you're listening to this episode and you're like, man, that reminds me of a story I have, you can share your stories with us. Like we have episodes every week dedicated to reading listener submitted stories. We've named them homegrown horrors. Pretty sure Robin coined the phrase our very first episode. And you can email storytime@scarish.com or reach out to us on any of those social medias that Robin mentioned. Or you can go to scarish.com, like she mentioned, and click on Contact Us. And that is a form you can fill out, send us your stories. And they don't always have to be super paranormal. Robin does this a little bit better than I do. Like, what are the stories we're typically looking for, Robin?
Supernatural, paranormal, spiritual, a lot of coincidental ones we've gotten. We've had cool stories of where people have worked in these creepy places and weird things have happened to them.
Brushes with true crime are really, really exciting. I shouldn't say exciting because they're terrifying for you, but they're definitely very interesting.
Yes.
Yes, I came across a dead body. Oh, wow.
Or, like, accidentally having to turn on and off the lights with your brother.
I told people that story this weekend when they're like, what's your podcast about? And I tell them, like, what's going on. And I was just like, there's some of them, though, that, like, people are, like, not realizing they're not experiencing something supernatural until the very end, and they just wind up being hilarious.
They're so good. So just share your experiences with us. Ask your parents, your grandparents, your siblings, your friends. I'm sure a lot of them have stories that you don't even know about.
That creepy guy down the street.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, no, don't ask him.
He's seen some shit, man.
He's got popsicles in his freezer in the basement.
You want to hear the creepiest stories, ask your grandparents, and their shit will turn you white. Just saying, because they've been around a while and they've seen some creepy shit. But Robin, if folks out there wanted to support us financially, how can they do so?
You can go to patreon.com/scarishpodcast. Those are monthly donations. The tiers start at $1. I just posted a discount code for our Teespring store that will last just for patrons for the summer. And it's for our brand new merch that is exclusive for patrons for the summer. So if you want to go on there, that is a patron exclusive post with the discount code for 10% off your order of our Teespring store. And that's, I mean, if you want to get some shirts, some blankets, some towels for the summer, I mean,
we got a lot of stuff.
Go do it.
We got a lot of merch.
And what else is? Oh yeah, coffee. ko-fi.com/scarishpodcast. Those are one-time donations. All those donations help us upgrade our studio setup. So if you followed us from the beginning, you've seen our video go from bleh to
That's how you hope it goes. You don't want it to go from like it's all right to potato.
Yeah.
to potato.
You can plant that and turn that into vodka.
My God.
Bret, do you want to sign us off? Or?
You guys go ahead. This is your show.
I haven't done it in a long time, so
okay, you can do it.
Thank you to everyone who listened. Bret, thank you again.
Thank you for having me on.
We're gonna miss you. We're still gonna come see you. We hope you come see us. We'll still stay in touch.
Absolutely.
And for those of you who listened, thank you so much. We appreciate all of you. Thank you for your support. Go check out Bret's stuff and keep on creeping on. And we will see you later this week.